Robinson, who finished running back 41, 205 rush attempts, 797 on the ground with 2 touchdowns on the ground, 9 receptions, 12 targets, 60 yards, 1 touchdown. Thoughts on Brian Robinson?
Brian Robinson is a good in between the tackles runner. He does get you those yards. You can use him in the red zone. His biggest downfall is he doesn't catch the ball, right? They have Gibson for that. We'll get to Gibson in a minute. If he can stay healthy, I think he is a back end RB2. So I do think that he improves off of where he was last year. But it's staying healthy, and it's Washington being able to stay on the field and move the football a little bit. If they're constantly trailing because the defense kind of poo-poos a little bit like they did last year, and they're constantly chasing from behind, Robinson is not going to be involved in the game plan as much. Like he is a close or front running back, if you will. If they're trailing and playing catch up, you're going to see a ton of Gibson. And I do think these guys kind of split carries a little bit more. There's been a ton of hype around Gibson this offseason, so Robinson's going to have to fend him off a little bit. But I think you could see him back end of RB2 territory, maybe top end of RB3, but that puts him in flex territory.
The biggest pitfall that is going to happen, if it hasn't already, there will be somebody out there who thinks that they are drafting Bijan Robinson and will end up with the other B. Robinson, Brian Robinson, and you're going to be sorely disappointed because they are completely different running backs, and they're going at completely different spots. So I guarantee you that is going to happen at least once, if it hasn't already, in leagues across the world. So pay attention, right? When you're doing your draft, make sure you got the right guy.
And there's a really good chance that Antonio Gibson sees a resurgence in Bieniemy's offense here. He tends to prefer those pass catching backs more so than not there. And Brian Robinson, Kevin said it has seemingly a hard time kind of catching the ball and making something happen there. So there's a lot of other guys going in that similar type of range that I would rather go with over Brian Robinson. Right now, this is one of those ADP just hasn't caught up to it, but Alexander Madison is going right in the same ballpark as that one. Would much rather go with an Alexander Madison. Even Rashad Penny going a little bit further down on a lot of draft boards there. I'd rather go that route. So there's a few other guys that I would rather take my shot on here than Brian Robinson. And this is one of those that I don't know that I'm really looking forward to a guy that's going to, put up, the ceiling on him is maybe 900 yards, maybe 950, maybe 5 or 6 touchdowns. So no, I think I'm good on moving that one on down the road.